We on?
We are on now.
We are back.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Let's do this properly. Introductions.
Russ.
Dizzle Dap.
Mr. OC over here.
Yes.
Pleasure. Thank you for joining us again.
Mhm.
This is episode
Nine.
9.
No,
Yes.
no.
9 is my favorite number, weirdly enough. I don't know
Really
if-
interesting.
do you guys have a favorite number?
3 for me.
3 is your favorite number? No? 15 used to be
I
my
was
favorite number.
actually
Actually, I
11.
shouldn't say that.
11.
11?
I was about to say I shouldn't.
What's
say
your
that.
reason for 11?
I like the way it looks.
You like the way it looks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it's 3, 7, and 11.
3, 7, and 11.
I
You're
don't
not
think-
trying to go to 7-Eleven.
I've been to 7.
I know,
I've been to
just saying.
Thailand.
Oh,
7-Eleven is everywhere.
really?
It's
Really? Wow.
everywhere.
Can you buy alcohol in the 7-Eleven there?
Yes.
Mm.
And when most of them I've been to, when you walk in, they immediately say like "Sorry Cup," or so it's easy. You walk in, you can hear if there's like 3 of them in there, you hear like the chorus of them going off at the same time. You're like, "Ooh."
What do you mean going off? Like saying what?
Like they're saying hello.
Oh,
Mm.
so it's in synergy. Almost,
Yeah, it's like a synergy all the time. I'm like, oh, this
got it.
feels nice. But it was where I was staying. I don't know if it happens everywhere.
Where are you going to stay in Phuket?
No, I was in Bangkok and
Sorry. You know why I laughed. You know why I laughed,
In
right?
Bangkok?
No. So our family is traveling right now,
Mhm.
and they are actually in Thailand.
Oh,
And they are someone said, "Oh yeah, we're in Phuket right now,"
Yeah.
and I knew how to pronounce it, but when they sent it in the chat, a lot of family was like, "How do you pronounce that?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce
You
that?"
pronounce it Phuket?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I laughed. Because you pronounce it correctly. You pronounce it correctly. Oh, that was good. That was good. So,
oh man.
so 3, 7, and 11 for you.
Mhm.
11 for you.
Yeah.
9 for me. And this is episode 9. We're grateful to
Yes,
be here.
yes,
We're
yes,
so
yes,
appreciative for everybody joining us.
Mhm.
Hopefully, everyone got a chance to enjoy episode 8, where we talked about our upbringing.
Yes.
And we labeled it part 1 because there's so many different things we can talk about.
Mhm.
And as the podcast name suggests, what's the purpose? Dad's Unscripted.
Mhm.
We want to be able to provide context to our kids
Yeah.
over time, you know, being able to share different stories with them and let them understand where we're coming from or how we grew up, what
Right.
shaped us to be who we are now. So they'll either have a moment of like, oh, that's why that was like that, or oh, that's what, you know, the realization
They
of
could
stuff.
use it as benchmarks.
They
Maybe
can
that's
use it as
when it's
benchmarks.
like,
Exactly.
that's when everything changed.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So
Right.
one of the areas that we want to definitely dive into for this episode is, and I guess it's funny coming from me, but we'll go into it as we go along. But
Mhm.
embracing growing older, like embracing growing older. So last episode we talked about, you know, growing up and our upbringing,
Mhm.
but we're now grown men.
Yeah.
Even though it's funny because members of our family,
Mhm.
we will never be like, we'll be grown men, but we'll always be like the little cousin,
Right.
little nephew.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Like no matter how old we are and how much stuff we have going on as a responsibility in life,
Yes.
you'll always be, oh, you do, oh my gosh, when did
Mhm.
that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I remember when you were a little boy and da 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 da. And that level of,
Yeah.
you know, age difference,
Mm-hmm.
it can be annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
Because for us, like we're the younger ones in our group right now. So we have all these big cousins who, you know, they're big, they're older than us. Like life is definitely giving them their blessings, giving them their lessons, and we're coming into it now. And for me, celebrating a milestone birthday this year and knowing that like, okay, dang, let's do some reflection on that right now.
Yeah.
Because in past episodes, or correction, in the recent episode, you talked about the foolishness that you did growing up, or some of the foolishness that could have taken place, and you know, you either got licks for it,
Mhm.
And something that I didn't get a chance to mention in the last episode, I'll mention it now, is I said that I got licked one time from my mom.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting one lick from my dad too. His was a little bit different, but still one and one.
Right.
But I was gonna chime in, but I didn't get a chance to in the last episode, was the amount of things that I'm thankful that I got away with. The amount of things that I'm thankful that I got away with. I actually told my mom about some stuff the other day,
Mhm.
and her eyes just went, I cannot believe you did that.
Mm.
You did that? And keep in mind, this is in Jamaica. This is not even up here. Because by the time I was up here, I was already more classified as an adult. This is stuff that's happening at 13, 14, 15, 16. It's like, what? So that's something that I'll kind of have as a chuckle point where it's like, yeah, I'm going to get licked a couple times, but got away with way more stuff that, hey, I ain't bringing it to light. I ain't bringing that to light. That's going to go with me to the grave.
Oh gosh.
But as we're saying, going to the grave and embracing aging, for myself, it's been an interesting insight, because I remember always thinking back to when I was 16, couldn't wait to be 21. I remember I couldn't wait to be 21. Thinking that was where life really all started and whatever, only to be the age that I am now. Yes, I'm keeping it a secret for everybody if you haven't realized. Everybody can put in the comments how old you think I am. No problem. No problem. There are wrong answers. There are definitely wrong answers. So try, be nice. And looking at it in that way, it's like, wow, when I was 21, my thought was like, I want to get my own apartment, and I want to have a big screen TV, and I want to have my car. And, those things are really important.
Yeah.
And now being the age and the life that I have now, it's like, wow, yeah, of course I have the big TV, have the cars, all the stuff. But then you kind of have a moment where I'm like, dang, that really, not that it's insignificant, but this is what matters. What I mean by that is the relationships.
Yeah.
Because I can get more, like if the TV broke, oh man, darn, okay, I got to make a trip to wherever and go buy another one. Versus now embracing getting older is realizing we're like, the relationships are what's important. The relationships are so, so important. Because I had a chuckle with myself 2 days ago. I like watches, but I don't necessarily wear them too often. So what happens? The watch them dead. So I went through my watch case and I was like, holy crow, not one of these things have battery. That's good. And some of them needing adjustments. It's been about 5-6 months that I have meant to do that. And I haven't done it.
Yeah.
Which just shows where it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Me mentioning or not mentioning it doesn't have a adverse impact on me, versus if 5-6 months go by and there's no communication between the three of us or any type of check-in or anything like that, that has an impact.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that embracing getting older is like realizing like, okay, this is what's important.
Yeah, I must say, because there'll be times where we don't speak for a little bit, and then I'll get a random call, and I'll see his number on or I'll miss his call.
Okay, I was about to say, keep it real on the fact that you don't need to screen it, but you screen it.
No. I don't screen the call. It's majority of the time I'm doing something, and I'm like, shit. I'm like, I'll call so and so, because I've done it to almost everybody. I'll be doing something and I'm like, I can't sit and talk, and I hate rushing people off the phone. Yeah. I feel like that's more rude. I'd rather just call you back, than being like, hey, let me call you back, and I don't call you back. It's like, shit, I'm doing something right now. All right, I can't focus on this right now, so I'll call you back. And sometimes it slips my mind, but I try to do at least a text message back saying, hey, I was busy, I'll call you later, or I try to call back later on.
Those text messages, maybe you didn't press send.
No, but I've called you back. I call you back.
Fair enough.
I call you back. Don't try to do me like that in front of people.
I'm not doing you no way.
In front of these people.
I'm not doing you no way.
Don't listen to me.
I'm just saying.
Do me like that in front of guests?
In front of the guest, I know. I apologize.
Don't you see we have guests here?
I apologize. I checked my phone. He called back.
Oh man.
So I get that. And you call back. I'll give you that.
Like I thought about that topic and I thought about it in like two different ways. Obviously the physical, like your body. And
that's a topic all in itself.
It's like the body part, I think, doesn't bug me as much. What I understand more now than before is we've come back to this topic many a times over, and it's the consistency.
Oh, facts.
And that's the part where I've learned that that's what needs to be had. Like I know people talk about like, when you hit your 30, this happened. And it's just like for me, like training, working out, I think the regimen now changed. For me, the mentality is no longer a go when I'm in the gym. It's about redefining myself and my body. And the great part is like, I've spent so many years with it that I've learned to tap into the energies that flows within it. What food I need to eat, what I need to stay away from, all that stuff. And there's a lot of people out there who have this one temple that they've been living with for the past how many years.
They don't take it serious.
They don't know the intricacies of their bodies.
So that's something that I wanted to address too. More than I guess like the physical thing, but how your roles change.
Yes.
As far as so being single, or there's a role. Being with a girlfriend or something.
Yes.
There's a role.
Right.
Getting married. Having kids, there's a role.
Yeah.
Having kids, there's a role.
Yeah.
Then going further and having grandkids, there's a role.
Oh,
that you have to embrace. I saw a video about a guy where he was like, he had a drink with his grandfather. And as his grandfather poured him a thing of whiskey. And then the first he's like, where's the chaser? He's like, no, we don't chase it, we just sip it, So he's like, all right, he took the first shot. And then his grandfather's like, and he's like, yo, it burned my chest. It burned his chest. And his grandfather's like,
I said
okay, I'm going to pour you another one and you're going to sip. He's like, just relax. So he's like, just pick it up. So he picks up the drink and he's like, just smell it. So he smells it. He's like, just put it back down. And he's like, okay, no, like pick it up again. Just have a sip. Sip. Okay, good. Put it back down. Taste it. And he's like, He's like, the more he took a sip and he realized, he didn't realize in the moment, but he realized later on his grandfather was teaching him to slow down.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's something that I realize that I'm working on with my kids is slowing down. I realize sometimes I'm mashing the gas. And before you know it, it's a first birthday. It's a second birthday. It's a third birthday. My daughter's 9. There's 9 birthdays and I've been mashing, I've been punching the gas and I'm like, I saw that video and it opened up my eyes. It's like, yo, now I'm a teacher, right? I'm a teacher. I have to really be taking my time and teaching them and being with them if I want the best results out of them. I look at LeVar Ball and shout out to him that you heard Leangelo Ball's new song, whatever, right? People always talk about it. He has a song called Tweaker and Swerve in that corner, So people are talking about he's gone 3 for 3 with his boys, right? And you see the relationship and you see how they are. And I'm like, wow, like that's something to look up to. Something to look up to, especially as a father. His belief in his kids.
Yes.
If he was just a dad who just punched past, that was mashing the gas and wasn't actually embracing that role in his age, you know what I'm saying? Now it's not really about me anymore. It's about my children. I can definitely say I'm still selfish because there's still so much I want to accomplish, right?
For sure.
So I'm trying to learn to embrace the role that it's not so much about me anymore. It's more so about them.
I'm gonna shoot you a question. Like, and I know we use this word, the Jamaica, the Rasta connotations came to my head a while ago, and I just said "con," but not the Rasta way. But you said selfish, and there's a big difference between selfish and self-focus, and I think sometimes we blur the lines between both of them because, prime example, I was talking to my son King and he was like, like family is important to me. And I was like, yeah, I understand that and I see that in you. But you have to take care of yourself first
Mhm.
before you can take care of the family.
Mhm.
Because if you are deteriorating, how can you help your family?
Mhm.
So that's where I come from, a point where it's like self first, in the sense of you're catering to you, the person, and then you allow for that energy to spread out to the kids. Because I've realized, I thought about the same thing for me too. Like, yo, all right, how am I going to do this? Because this is no longer me. Like, even I think recently I had like similar thoughts where I'm looking at my screensaver and it's my two boys, and I'm going, yo, I'm a dad of two boys.
Mhm.
That reality hits hard.
And it's like, man, did I really think about this when I was younger? Like, in detail of how detailed our life has become
Yeah.
being parents. And that's another topic too, or another time that we can look at the difference between being a dad and being a parent. Because sometimes, or being a mom and being a parent, sometimes we parent our child's way too much,
Mhm.
and we forget to just be the dad.
Yeah.
And that's where I think now, in getting deeper into life and getting older, yes, I'm understanding that, hey, I don't have to be a parent all the time. I could just be a dad. Like, I could just
be.
enjoy this moment with you in this element that we're in. And I don't have to correct you, because you're going to find a way to self-correct yourself at sometimes, or at some point. But it's like, I still got to focus on like where my energy lies.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, even going back to our previous episode where we talked about like our upbringing,
Mhm.
where sometimes I catch myself and I was like, bro, why are you saying that?
Mhm.
Your mom used to say that to you and you didn't enjoy it. Or your dad used to say
Yeah.
that to you and you didn't enjoy it. So why are you saying it to him?
Mhm.
Chill out.
Inside out, man. You got to
Like,
work on it inside
Hold
out.
up.
Trust me.
You got to check yourself first before you even try to check him, to see where you're coming from. Are you coming from a place of ego, or are you coming from a place of genuine care for what he actually feels?
Just, bro.
And I'm going,
what?
damn, this is actually what maturing and becoming, you know, getting older.
Mhm.
Not just the physical aspect, because, you know, that's here nor there. It just depends on how much you put into your work of your
Yes.
body to keep your body
So
maintained.
you know what I'm
over
going to
years.
do? I'm going to cheers to us right now.
Yeah.
Because here's why I'm saying that. Because you just mentioned something
Mm-hmm.
that's very important by using the word maturity.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, there's a lot of people who age, but they don't mature.
There we go.
There's a lot of
There we
people who
go.
age, but they don't mature.
Mhm.
And something that I'm trying to teach my girls, and it's interesting, if I personally believe if I teach my girls this, my son who is younger,
Mhm.
naturally, he follows them. He
Yeah.
naturally follows them.
Mhm. Mhm.
He'll catch on.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm trying to teach them right now about being responsible.
Mhm.
And not just the sake of the word responsible, but
Mhm.
genuinely responsible for themselves
Yeah.
from an inside out point of view, to regulate their emotions,
Mhm.
manage their emotions, manage their words,
Mhm.
and also understand that the world is not that it's not a beautiful world, because we do live in a beautiful world,
100%.
but just understand how to manage
Mhm.
the world within yourself.
Oh. Ooh.
Because if, like, my kid was dealing with something at school and I would say something to encourage her, and she would not have that confidence within herself
Yes.
to say, okay, daddy, I'm going to do that.
Mhm.
She'd be like, no, I can't, this and this. And I'd have to stop and say, sweetheart, please be encouraged. Daddy's here to encourage you. Daddy's here to help you.
Mhm.
But you have to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to want it.
Mhm.
You have to be able to go about it in this particular way.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Because I find myself saying a lot of times to them, you're probably not going to get this now, but daddy has no problem saying it over and over
Mhm.
until you do get it. Because that's something that was not mentioned in the previous episode as part of upbringing, but that's something that I'll tag in here, where sometimes our parents said the thing to us that they probably shouldn't have said versus the encouraging word that they could have said more and more and more. And that would then lead us to, not that we didn't turn out great. We all turned out great. But at the same time, we all have our triggers.
Oh, for sure.
Or our traumas of like, ooh, we're going to step away from that. Or, I need to like to learn how to even manage our own emotions.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't have someone like me to say, hey, this is how you got to go about it. Or, hey, that's probably not a good look.
Right.
Or so forth and so forth. D mentioned it that he's a teacher for his kids. I have a similar perspective, but I use the word advisor.
Ooh.
I'm here to advise you. And I don't know if this is a dad thing. I have no idea. But I know I've talked to enough mothers and they all want to be friends with their kids at some point.
Fair.
But especially when they're younger. They want to be friends with their kids when they're younger. And for myself, I'm like, sure, no problem. But I guess I have a different interpretation of friends where we're all friends. We're all friends here.
Yes.
Which means you can tell me about my clot. That means I should be able to tell you about your clot.
Right.
Like, yo, you messed up right there. You shouldn't have done that. I got your back. Blah, 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 blah. That can't happen. Like that's not something that I can go tell my mom or dad, like, oh, you could have done this or could have done that better or whatever. So I always chalk it up to like, hey, we can be friendly. But if you think that we're going to be friends, then it needs to be from a reciprocal point of view where it's like, hey, I got to let you know, hey, that wasn't cool. And you being, and using your word, mature, let's get down on a t-shirt, mature to say, you're right. Versus what naturally happened is, who do you think you're talking to? Or please remember. So because of that, I have it in my head where it's like, yo, I'm gonna be your advisor.
There's to bring it to that point. So to me, I feel like there's levels. I saw Tupac actually mention something like this, where he was like, how him and his mom, it was like sergeant, cadet, this, that. Like he was just mentioning the levels as they got older. Till when they got older, she was more of his friend.
Right.
So I feel like, like when your kids are young, you're filling a whole bunch of boxes. Right. Like, provider, teacher, protector, all these things. And then as they get older, you have to kind of let go of the reins a little bit. Now you're becoming just more of like, you're just guiding them. Right. And then I feel like as you get older, you become more of a friend / advisor, because advisors, you don't necessarily have to take their advice. Like you could ask them, but you may not have to. You're just looking for counsel, but maybe you don't take the advice of the counsel. So I feel like as you reach, because that's something that I find that me and my dad have now, right? Is he advises me and we're friends and we talk and we laugh and we joke, but he's also grown to respect my opinion as well, because I tried to coach him on things as well. He'll tell me certain things about certain things that are going on, and he's getting upset. And I'm like, yo, Pops, like, you can't let that, or, you know, I show him a certain way to maybe deal with something that he's like, I know, right.
Never thought about that.
I never thought about it from that perspective, you know?
Listen, so I'm going to say this, take that as a win.
1,000.
Because there's my own personal experience, my pops.
When I got married, my dad was my best man. Because, like, realistically speaking, the man, me and him have definitely kicked off and had our moments. And we've always able to kind of come back and
bring it back.
And
which is commendable.
He knows he has his ways about him, and I know I have my ways about myself. You know,
there it is, though. So that's you just hit the nail on the head, because I'm sure we've all kicked off with our parents in some form.
For sure.
But in my experience, I know I've kicked off with my father, and from his point of view, he did not a ratty thing wrong. He thought he was in the right all the way through. Now, here's the part that's funny. I'm now an adult. I'm not. It's one of those separations that I don't think he caught on to at the time while he was alive. That, holy, all right, hold on. If me and this boy kick off, actually, correction, if me and this man now kick off, me and this man kick off, him not come back here, in Ghana, like I already had my life established. So if we kick off and you choose not to be responsible, come up and say, all right, you know what I said I shouldn't have said, and so forth and so forth. And you're not willing to mend that, once that broke, it broke and gone. So that's kudos. If your dad has that, I respect that. Trust me.
I rate that.
He's definitely a great person, and I take a lot of those teachings because. So, for example, it kind of stressed me out the other day because the responses I got. But I'll preface to tell you guys a story. So, when I was growing up, like my mom would come into my room and she's like, "This place look like a pigsty. You're dirty, nasty, clean up the room, right? Cuss you out." So, I'm growing up teaching. My daughter's growing up teaching her how to keep her room and her things tidy.
Right.
And so I went into her room, and her room was messy. There was still like a whole bunch of wrapping paper and stuff from Christmas. Christmas has been done, and the paper's still in the corner, and the garbage is full up in the bed, and there's clothes everywhere. And I walked into her room, and I'm like, "Why does this room look like this?" And she's like, "Well, these are just here." She had a whole bunch of answers. I'm like, the very first thing I said to her was, "You want to know what this room's telling me?" She's like, "What do you mean?" "It's telling me that there's something inside of you that is wrong. Like what's on the inside is directly showing me on the outside. That this is showing me that this is somebody who doesn't value themselves, doesn't value their space, or they're not happy with themselves." And I'm like, "Are you happy with yourself right now?" And when she looked at me, she said, her answer was, "I never thought about that." And I was like, I thought to myself when I was 9, I was like, when someone asked me, "Are you happy with yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, what do you mean? I would have just thought you were crazy for asking me that. But for her to think about it and be like, it kind of, I don't want to use the word stress me out because I said about the stress with the kids, but it did make me feel like, okay, I got it. It stressed me out because of the things that I realized I need to work on about myself. Because I'm like, I need to be more, I need to be there for you more now. For you to feel like something is going on with you and I'm not as tapped in with you to make sure that I'm guiding you or I'm teaching you the ways. And when I commended myself for that because that was something that I didn't get when I was growing up. My mom would come in and be like, "Yo, your room's nasty and this and that," and cuss me out and clean up. But when you really, really explain it to them and you explain it to, even when I used to realize for myself, when I'd walk into my house and it was dirty, I couldn't think. I felt anxious. I feel upset. And then as soon as my house is clean, it's like, you have a breath of fresh air. You can think. You love being in your space. You're okay. People are telling you around. People are asking you want to come out. You're okay. This is I'm okay. I'm good. You don't need to go. Then when your house is dirty or whatever, your room or whatever, you kind of run from it. You don't want to be in that space. People are asking. You're going places you shouldn't be just because you don't want to deal with what's here already. Yes. So it took me a long time to realize that the reflection of the way I feel inside is going to directly show on the outside. I used to down to everything, down to haircuts and lineups and braid ups or having, whatever, the way you dress, it directly shows. You see someone who doesn't take care of themselves on the outside, there has to be something internal that's going on that you don't 100%. Value yourself to be like, you want to know what? When you look at yourself, you like what you see,
1,000%.
And just back to embracing the role is like really just embracing that role as a father now. And really realizing I got to slow it down. I got to slow it down because there's a lot of things going on with my kids that that I got to make sure I guide them through. My smallest one has temper. He has temper. My middle one, maybe he's a little bit timid. So I'm like, I got to bring it back to, I think, maybe our first episode.
We talk about pull that fire out.
Dig. Get that, to unpack that and pull 1,000%. That fire out of him, and my youngest one to maybe kind of figure out how to
manage that.
So,
because funny that you say that, because I just reflected on it the other day. My middle one has not anger, but she has. I use the word passion. Passion is a good word that I would use because when she's upset, she's upset. So one of those ones where. When someone's so upset that you could be talking to them, but they are not hearing, a word that you're saying, that I've got to the point now where I say, "Sweetheart, you need time." And what I try to do is like, "Hey, sweetheart, you need some time. Go and take the time. And once you're ready, daddy's here." And something that, again, the power of tools that are available to us now that our parents did not have.
Yes.
Or we now have.
Yes.
One of the lessons that I came across through whatever it was, Instagram or Facebook, and it talked about get on your child's level. And all that simply means is not mental, but it does play a part in like, hey, remembering when you were 6 and 8 and just tough. It's tough to do. But from the point of view of get on their level, at least getting down to lower.
Yes.
So I will bring, because I'm taller than them. They think I'm this big old, like, oh, daddy's so big and strong, whatever. So I try and go down, almost get smaller than them. So that I'm almost looking up at them. So that they don't feel as though they're being encroached on and like, what problems am I going to have to deal with now? So that they can feel safe.
Yes.
And my middle child will then be like, oh, daddy, I'm calm now. Can I have a hug? And one thing I'll try to never do is, not offer a hug. My oldest loves a hug. Like anytime there's any type of reprimand, when she gets it is when I know she asked me for a hug. She asked me for a hug. Daddy, can I have a hug, please? And I'm like, sure, come and get it. I'm not going to withhold any type of affection from them in any way, shape, or form. I want them to know how much they are loved and cared for.
Yes.
And that's part of the embracing the fatherhood of like.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's maturing into that role.
Yeah.
Because we've had, and I think we talked about it on the previous episode, was what's the role that you're playing for yourself.
Yeah.
But ties back to the point where you're saying, are you being selfish? And I was like, technically, I don't see that as selfish. I see that as self first.
Yeah.
Because you got to first assess what is happening in your world before you can enter the world of your kids, enter the world of your wife, enter the world of your partner, enter the world of business, enter the world that's out there, because it ties into how you show up for said persons, kids, family members, loved ones. So it's definitely something that we got to look at how we mature into it, because that ties into like even the experience I had with my youngest today. Like he was not having it, and I like literally just crouched down where my butt was on the floor, my knees were bent, and I was like, "Oh, this is a good workout." So I'm just gonna stay in this position, and I'm there, and he's going off, and he's going to the floor. He gets back up, and I was like, "Breathe, stand up, and then let's have this. Let's do this. Stand up, let's stand up and breathe." And then took him a minute, but he calmed down, and I was like, "Okay, do you want a hug?" And he's like, he didn't even say yes. He just dove into my arms. And I was like, yes. And this is where I had this conversation too, where I was like, me as a man, as a father, as a, like looking at it from that standpoint, I am not the cuddler. I don't like cuddle easily. Maybe that stems from, again, previous episode, upbringing.
Yeah.
But I like to go from a school of thought that let's center yourself first before we get to the union of our energies. Because again, when you step outside these doors when you're older, you're gonna have to center yourself first. There won't be mommy, there won't be daddy when you go to daycare, when you go to high school, when you go to public school, of us there to be like, oh, let me give you a hug. The teachers probably won't even do it because they're afraid of, you know what I mean? Like all that other stuff that comes with that. So you gotta also learn how to manage that. And let me go face this challenge.
Yeah. So you're not wrong. And the part that's interesting, because you might be there right now, as far as, does your daughter ask you to help her like bathe and stuff still? Or she's dealing, she does that all on her own? She does on her own now. Right. Yeah. So I'm in that middle ground right now. So my oldest, situationally, she'd be like, Daddy, can you help me bathe, please? And a part of me is like, girl, you're old enough to do that yourself, man. In my head. And then I have to catch myself and be like, yo, bro, there's going to become a day where she's going to be like, sir, I got this. So I'll help her. My middle one, like, she'll milk it till thy kingdom come. Every day. She's like, Daddy, please. She's smooth. She's like, Daddy, can you just wash my back, please? Daddy, can you just do my back? And I'm like, girl, you what? And just embracing that one day those things are gonna stop. Now, you mentioned upbringing as far as physical huggy stuff.
Yes.
I'm a hugger. Like my kids know that. That's
Mhm.
why they know to cut. Like if they want to hug, they come to me because I'm all about it. Now I recognize I'm a hugger because I've heard enough people say, "Oh my gosh, your mom, she gives like the best hugs." So imagine I'm growing up with that.
Yes.
Getting that big hug. And now that I'm also older, I'm taller than my mom, I'm bigger than my mom. So our hugs, it's now me being that big embrace to her.
Right,
whereas when
right.
I was a kid, it was the other way around. So now I'm doing that for my kids. And again, I don't know what that's going to shape out to be, because we know our love languages are shaped from either our traumas of not having something or
yes.
from having it. So we want to keep it up,
much of something,
or having too much of it. So it's a balance that you don't know what you're going to get. But I say all of that because you made a very valid point about centering. Because if you really do catch yourself, catch your moment, and you're like, okay, yep, what is it that I need right now? Because I think there's a lot of that times where even now, sometimes I don't ask myself that question.
Right.
And I should. Perfect example. Obviously, you've heard me cough a couple of times. I'm just getting better. I don't know what happened, man. When I'm a picnic, come home with something and they just passed it on to me. And I'm like, how the heck did I catch it? I quickly realized why I caught it. Because whatever water bottle I have around here, I need to hide that bad boy. Because I see my three of them. Oh, I need some water. Their water will be right here. My water will be all the way over there. And they will go get my water and drink from it. So if I'm now wondering, okay, how did I catch anything? That's the answer, right? Some shape or form. Because I appreciate it. They have manners enough that they're not going to sneeze in my face or nothing like that. Right. But that's the only way that makes sense for me to have caught whatever it was. Because they're perfectly fine now. I'm coming back from it, which leads to me feeling like I have stuff that I need to do every day. We know that already. There's always, as you said, there's levels to doing everything. Right. And I literally had to say to myself, like, what do I need right now? And I had to catch myself and be like, yo, you need to just go lie down. And even though I didn't want to, because there's laundry, there's meal prepping, there's getting ready for the next day, there's dance that they had, there's all of this stuff. And, you know, as an active dad, as an active spouse, like that whole, you know, every day you're on or every day is game day, it's a real thing. It's a legit thing. But yesterday I was like, yo, I'm out. I went to the basement, set a timer, and that timer I didn't hear that timer. I passed out for I think 3 hours. And I came upstairs and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel great. Goes back again. I asked myself, like, oh, what do I need? And I'm trying to now communicate that to my kids, especially when they, you know, granted, they're kids, so they're going to argue over foolishness. But what I'm trying to tell them is what you're mentioning, where it's like, hey, find what it is that you are looking for, but don't blame somebody else. Because that's one thing that they have siblings. They always blame. It's always, oh, they didn't do this or they didn't do that. And I always try and catch it quick. Hey, no. If your sibling did that, it wouldn't just come out of nowhere. What part did you play? What part did you play? Because if your sister is not treating you nicely, were you nice to her? Yeah, I was, I think. And trying to teach that lesson of like, hey, catch yourself, be mindful of yourself, and, you know, do better. And along the lines of like embracing getting older is also recognizing that the same applies for our parents. And realizing like, yo, dang, I don't know if you've thought about this or you've reflected on this. You're smack dab in the middle of it. Because that literally, once a man, twice a child, is really relative to like you're growing up your own kids. And now I'm seeing it where interacting with my mom and seeing where as a kid, I'd be like, oh my God, this woman is so like what can she not do? And now that she's older, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm seeing the not necessarily vulnerability of it all, but just age.
Yes.
As much as granted, I remember hearing someone say the other day, they're like, man, one thing I'd say about your family is athletic. Because you know how our aunts, they don't work out, but they have calves, like they do calf raises like every day, like 50 times a day. Like their calves are huge. But I guess that goes back to having to do all that walking back growing up, right? So it's that embracing, like, okay, dealing with your parents, dealing with yourself, you have your spouse, and then dealing with your kids. It does require a sense of leveling up. And I use the word capacity. That's the word that I constantly have in the back of my mind, where it's like, okay, how much capacity do I have? Or how much capacity do I need to develop? Which is a question that, we can pose right now before we start wrapping up. But do you think you can build on your capacity, or do you feel like, I thought this one may have still enough. You have to go just deal with that.
I feel like definitely you can. I always think there's room for growth.
Yes.
There's always room for development, bro.
Yes.
No matter how much you think you've accomplished, there's always a space in your life that is ready for some type of development. Yeah.
Like, what if your spouse says, "Oh, you're not doing this," or better yet, what if you go to your spouse and say, "Hey, I recognize that this doesn't happen, or I really want this to happen," and she says, "Oh, well, I don't see how that's possible." What would what would you take away from that? Would you take away like, "Oh, well, okay, seems like I have the capacity, and maybe it only goes one way," or like, do you just have to kind of build with that?
No, I personally feel like, I'm not saying there's always effort. You always got to give effort. That was one thing my mom always taught me. She's like, even if I don't want to see you coming home with bad grades and I never see you studying, because it means you're not even trying.
Yeah.
But she's like, if I see you studying and you come home with a 50 or a D, or you come home with a C or C plus, I know at least you tried, you gave it your all.
Yeah.
It's one thing when people just say, "Oh, I can't do that," and there's no effort put forth. At least try. At least try. I'm not expecting you to be perfect, but I'm expecting some type of effort. If I bring something to the table, it's like long other days done of man just going to work and just coming home and saying, "We just work and done." I don't take care of kids, where's the food, I'm shower and have my drink and go to bed.
Yeah, easy.
It's like when you come home, it's like you do your best to facilitate.
Yeah, you're on.
You're facilitate and be like, "Yo, listen, okay, I'll take care of the kids, or I'll clean the house, or I'll do the you doing laundry. I'll go do all the laundry, I'll go do this, I'll clean the washrooms, I'll do whatever." So that's effort. Whereas a lot of people would say back in the day that you don't need to do that, right?
Cheers to us as modern day men.
You got nothing.
Just an empty cup. Oh, don't.
You gotta fill up, man. You gotta fill up. You can't. Yo, remember, we were just talking about your cup can't be empty.
Oh gosh,
your cup can't be empty.
We have to start taxing, guys. Yo, cheers to us for being modern day men, but with traditional
core
values. Because at the end of the day, I still want to be protector, provider, all that stuff. But hey, I have no problem changing diapers.
I have
no problem feeding. I have no problem doing all of that.
Laundry either.
No problem washing laundry, folding, none of that.
I do have a problem folding, man. It takes too long.
Folding, so that's another bonus episode, because
I will wash.
That's a bonus episode.
I'm not
because
a good folder.
I wish I'm a folding, like it looks like it's in the store. It looks like that Savant is strong, but it looks like it's in the store. Like if you see my closet, it looks like it's in the store. It's layered on top and it's all even. That's another thing for another time. But definitely the importance of like we've done our part.
The roles as you grow.
Yeah,
as you mature. I'm gonna tap the whole word of growing older. As you mature, embracing your roles as you mature.
Yeah, I agree. This was a great episode, great insight. I appreciate you guys sharing.
Give us your feedback. Like, share, subscribe,
comment. Let us know if you have any questions. Hey, if there's a topic that you want us to dive into or talk about, especially parent related, anything
related,
anything.
Just
bring it to our attention, and we'll happily
dive
have a
into it.
conversation about it. Because that's what this is. This is just a conversation that we want to know that at some point our kids, or we'll be able to say, hey, we have information for you. Here's an this is episode here. This is an episode here. Take it all in, and you'll be able to get the context or get the feedback from us, because unfortunately sometimes our kids, they don't listen to us as well as they should. But we can all embrace it now as adults.
Yes.
I listen to my mom way more now than before, because I see the value in her words, right? And we all agree on that.
100%.
So thank you so much for joining us again for What's the Purpose? That's Unscripted.
Salute.
And we will see you guys again.
Kaboom.
Have a good day.
Peace.
Right.